Okay, so today we are going to be putting a Keenovo bed heater on the underside of a printer bed with the goal that we are going to use this on a 3D printer to do heating and stuff with. So just as a quick backtrack, this is for a voron 3D printer. This is the underside. On the top we've actually got a magnetic adhesive on here. This is from Energetic, I think it is, and it seems okay. Not that I've used it yet. You can see I've counterbored 3 holes here. 3. And that's for a voron 1.8. So you can see the front here is held like that, and these bits are held on here. And the back is where these bits will be popping through. So measure this out. So you can see here 220 volts, just what Australia runs off for its standard power supplies, and 500 watts. This is honestly overpowered. You're probably only going to be using 200 to 300 watts, but that's okay because you can use PWM to power cycle that down, so it's only briefly on 500 watts, so you're okay. So what you'll need to apply this to the board is if you've got adhesive on there, to keep it clean, which I do, you'll have to remove that off, which I'll do in a moment. You'll also have to have some isopropylene alcohol. That's a spray bottle version. Just some basic paper towels or something to clean it off afterwards. That's about it, pretty much. This is adhesive here, so I'll move this off from the opposite side, so I'm probably going to flip this around later. And just thinking what else we need. Oh, of course, a rolling pin. So the idea of the rolling pin is that once you've started applying this, you would then roll it over there to make sure that it's actually sticking pretty well. And then once all this is done, you would put a fair bit of weight on it to make sure that, well, it's doing the thing. So that's all good. I'm just going to check that I'm recording, so give me one moment. Yes, I am, which is great. So, with this, you can see here this is the integrated thermistor, which is good. Now I don't have a thermal fuse. What I've done instead is I've drilled some holes here and here, one for the ground plane, which I'll do another day, and the thermal fuse, the idea is that would be stuck down there and would be attached to this part. So that's all that kind of stuff. So first part here. Oh, the other thing you would probably like to do is, if your surface is not good enough, you can give it a very light scuffing down. So this is P120 sandpaper. You can probably go even finer grain with that because you don't really want to go really deep. You just want to take off any imperfections in that, because the goal of everything that you're doing here is that you want to remove cuts in that or air pockets, because they're going to be really annoying for when it heats up. So, on to the first part here. We're going to take this part off. Oh, that looks nice, doesn't it? Very nice. That's a good finish. That's good. So because this is a 254mm squared plate and the heater bed is 200mm, now it's intentionally smaller to give you room to put thermal fuse and room to put the holes on their sides as well for the screw holes. Look at how shiny that came out. This is pretty good. I honestly think the only reason I need to do isopropylene application of this is to get rid of the adhesive that I'm pulling off here and the gunk. Be careful not to touch the middle bit too much. Taking this off. Yeah, that looks good. I might use a deburring tool at some point on this part, but it doesn't matter too much because this is the underside of the bed and you would not be touching this day to day, or very rarely if at all. Okay, and again I could probably defer a tool or use a larger head on this just a little bit to give that a bit of, take the edge off it as well too. Alright, so feeling here, this surface is pretty good, to be honest. I'm very happy with it. A bit of a mark there. So I will scuff it up a bit. So I will do the scuffing first. Just the lightest one, so we don't actually need a mirror finish on this. We want it to have minor imperfections so the adhesive of the 3M can stick on. So I'm just going to give it a really light scuffing. Just minor imperfections. Good. Now we've got that on there. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. That's going to adhere well, I feel. It's feeling cross. Okay, so now it's time to do the cleaning. Also, before I go any further too, the Keenovo manual recommends that when you're applying this, you start from the opposite side of what this is. So when I'm applying it, I should be doing it like that. So now is the time to flip this around. Before I go any further. Okay. So now we have this facing out in this direction. Actually, probably a good idea to have it like that. And cool. So I'll do my ISO application, and then what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to use this sticky tape. Once I get the measurements correct for where it's going to go, to figure out where this is going to stick down. Okay. So ISO time. Quick spraying. I was hoping that'd be a bit more of a spray, but not the case. Okay, so let that soak really briefly. Two sheets up here. I love the smell of ISO in the morning. ISO propylene? No, I'm talking about COVID isolation. Ha 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 ha. Bad joke, I know. Right, so you can see that's disappearing now, and we've got your sheen back. Got rid of any residue. Pull that back so I'm not rubbing the gown on. Okay, that's very good. This is very minor imperfections, which is great. Another one on here. And I think we're good. Yep. Looks nice. Very happy with that. Tiniest mark there, but I think we'll be okay. You see that, just looking at that. Okay. So, this part will stick on, and we'll measure it out. So I haven't taken this 3M adhesive off yet. You can see it's still attached. But I will get the measurements right down. So again, 200mm pad, and this is a 254mm bed. So what that means is that you go, alright, so there's 54mm on both sides. Half that, you get 27, so I want 27, 27 on each side. So we just get this fitting in place. Get this right first. 27mm, make it square, 27, perfect, square. Give this a little bit of a yank so I've got plenty of room to fiddle with it. Great. So 27mm across, and you can confirm if you're paranoid that the other side has 27mm of play. Yep, that's right. Again, it should be flat. And then this part should be 27mm down. So I'm going to move that across now. There we go. Oops, that moved, wiggled a little bit. 27. Great. So put the sandpaper pad on here for a moment, weigh it down, and put some tape on there to mark where we want our bits to go. Now the tape is just a temporary thing. You're only going to have it on fairly briefly, just to mark where everything stops. There we go. The bit. I'll do a bit more over this side. Probably honestly tear this in half. This is not the best tape for it because it's way too thick. Okay. Tape here, so I know it ends at this spot. It's good. Again, you don't have to be perfect for it. It's just once using your rolling pin to put bits down, gives you a good help and feel for where all the bits are. Cool, eh? Alright. Down a bit. Do a notch up here. Make sure it's in place. Good enough. Yep. And a bit here. So it doesn't matter too much that I'm applying sticky tape on this and residue again, because the outside of the part of this cleanliness doesn't matter too much because nothing's sticking to it. Alright. So for completeness sake, I'll do a little bit here too. Okay. Alright, I think we're good to go. One more. Can't say I missed any spots then. If I had normal masking tape, that would probably be a little bit better. Just because it's smaller and easier to tear off. Right, so all four corners are accounted for now, which is great. So now it's time to take this off again. So again, pay attention that this part needs to be sticking out the opposite of this one, because this is the front. All good, so I'll take this off. Get my rolling pin ready. Now it tells me when I'm applying this to do it at 30 degrees, so it's roughly like that, which is a bit weird. I saw everyone do more like 45 degrees. Cool, good for them. So now I'm going to start peeling off the Make sure it's not overlapping. Cool. Start peeling off the adhesive and do this. Okay, there's the adhesive. You can see that there. It's ready to start. Okay. Here we go. So the beginning is to get put down. Where it's really hard down. Once that bit is, I'll start removing the rest of the adhesive. It's going to get me, I reckon, this bit. Okay, so time to peel the rest of it off and start applying it. Once this is done, you would have a crap ton of weights put down on it. Okay. Okay. Really use some force doing it like that. Peel a bit more off. I'm going to stand up and do this. Okay. Just checking that I'm still lined up. Yep. So far so good. Now I'm a little bit off on this. I'm still going to go ahead. You can see I'm a couple mil off. I think I can live with that. It's where it gets a little bit tricky because you don't want to roll over this part. Take this off because I know that's going to be off a little bit. It's fine. Alright, so press this down. So I've got to the point where nearly half of this finger's down. Really want to use lots of pressure. The more pressure you do now, the less you have to worry about in the future. Alright, so I'll push off more on this side. Start pushing it down. That's good. A bit more. That's pretty good there. Oh, jeez. Oh, it wears out quickly. Right, so feel more of the mat here. this bit off now. Press that down. Now again, see how I'm intentionally, I don't want to roll over that. Down. Now I'm going to move this across, and I'm going to roll over it like that. Get this down the best we can. Gently pressing on that. Reasonably gently anyway. Okay. Pushing down again. Near the end of this. Okay, made it. Take that bit off. Yep, lots of force. There we go. Oh, alright. Use some more force for a bit. If you had a proper workbench, you'd probably be able to do this a bit easier too. Like you could have more stuff to help squish it down, or a rolling pin that has lets this bit move out instead of just being a flat piece of wood. Okay, that's pretty solidly down now. So this adhesive is rated to, I think, 135 degrees roughly. So you never want your bed to ever get that hot. And because this is powered by solid state relay, if that ever failed open, what that would mean is that this would just keep heating up and get to the point where the adhesive would start to fail. So you'd have a 135 degree piece of adhesive falling over and doing you a world of damage. So to help you with that, we put a thermal fuse on there which shuts the whole thing off once it gets above a certain temperature. So I've got one that's rated for 115 degrees, which is honestly well above anything I would ever use. So then I could feel safe knowing that it'll shut off power going to it if it gets too hot. And that's my fail safe. The other thing they recommend installing is a ground plane onto this bead up here. So I'm going to thread those parts up here to give them a 3mm hole that will hold the thermal fuse and the ground plane there. Again, just more safety. So this is all done now. So what they recommend in the voron guides is that this is the thermistor. You would wire that up with a connector, the microfit one, and this one will have a higher rated connector. That's in the voron sourcing guide about what kind of thing it is. So you'll connect that up and then Bob's your uncle for that. So that's all good. So next step for this now is I'm going to find some weights and put that on top of this and leave it for roughly about a day. In the community I've seen people use vacuum sealing, which is fantastic, but I do not have that. With the vacuum sealing method, what they do is grab a vacuum, obviously, one of the vacuum bags for clothing and stuff, and they'll put like something soft, especially around the corners, so that it doesn't cut when it seals down. So then you vacuum seal, a bit like how you would take all the air out of your clothes bags and that kind of thing. That's meant to like help get rid of any air bubbles and stuff. So anyway, that's about it for now. I'm going to go find some weights, not to lift, but to keep this down, and then continue working on it. I think from this point, the next step for me would be to, if I felt confident, to put the thermal fuse on. But I'm not sure about how exactly that attaches to this part. So the next part is probably more likely that I'll do the gantry for the voron. So thank you for watching. Hopefully it wasn't too boring for you. Cheers.